Dear Heavenly Father, in the name of Jesus, thank you for this day. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for all that you've done, all that you will do. Lord, please be here with us today. I pray that you think through me and speak through me. Lord, show us your vision for our life and show us your plan and show us how we should execute. Lord, I pray that you give us the ability. Thank you for giving us the strength. And I pray that you give us the diligence and the wisdom so that we can execute on the things that you've given us, the plans that you've given us. And Lord, I pray that this episode is a blessing to all those who hear it. And I pray that I pray that we're ready to level up in this year. And I pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, people, this is episode number 22 of A King's Journal. I don't yet have a title for it. I did put a title on there. It says Level Up or Get Passed Up. And I'm going to explain why that is, why I put that in a second. But before I get into this, I really just, I hope that when you're listening to these episodes, because I do them live. I was previously, doing the whole setup, recording it, and then editing it. There would be certain portions like, oh, maybe I could have said that better. I'll edit this part and then, polish this part here. But I'm doing it live because I'm in the gym. I'm training right now. I'm practicing speaking. So the thing is, and I hope, like I said in the last, there's going to be a day, and I hope that you'll be there, that I'll be in front of you. There's going to be people, and we will be having a conversation in person. There's going to be that time. And so I'm going live so that this can be a piece of what that experience would be like. Because also, too, I really hope that you see this, and if you don't already, I hope that you start to see this as you're literally. I take it like this: if I was in high school, at the same high school as Michael Jordan, and I was there in the gym watching him train, and then later on I saw him become the Michael Jordan that we know, I feel like that's how you can visualize this right here, watching these episodes. And there's a lot of people who will be like, well, let me be a little bit more humble about this thing, but I'm not going to do that. The truth is, this is a King's Journal. This is a King's Journal. And we're on episode number, what did I just say, 22? We're on episode number 22 of this journey. And by this point, you know that the foundation of it is in God. The principles is all throughout the word. And so we are starting off understanding that there's a certain level of humility that's already gone into it. That's just inherent in living this kind of lifestyle. And so, but on the other side of that, like I said in the first episode, we are a royal people, and we are here to do certain things. And God has equipped us fully to do the things that he's called us to do. So in those areas, you should be bold. You got full right to be bold. So there's no reason that you need to be, quiet, ashamed, or there's no reason that you need to be curling yourself up and like speaking softly about things. When you know God has called you to do something, step up and go do it. And that's it. Period. Now let's get into the actual episode, because that wasn't what this episode was about. So let's get into it. The first thing I want to talk about, and this is a long section. I usually don't do this much reading, but I want to today, and there's a reason for it. Matthew 25, 14 through 26 is the story of the talents. It says, "For the kingdom of heaven is as a man traveling into a far country, who called his own servants and delivered unto them his goods. And unto one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, and to another 1, to every man according to his several ability." If you go to the NIV, it cuts out that several. It just says according to his ability. And straightway took his journey. Then he that had received the 5 talents went and traded with the same, and made them over 5 talents. And likewise, he that had received 2, he also gained another 2. But he that had received 1 went and digged into the earth, and hid his Lord's money. And after a long time, the Lord of the servants cameth and reckoneth with them. And so he that had received 5 talents came and brought over 5 talents, saying, Lord, thou deliveredst unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained beside them 5 talents more. His Lord said unto him, Well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of the Lord. He also that had received 2 talents came and said, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 2 talents. Behold, I have gained 2 other talents beside them. His Lord said unto him, Well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of the Lord. Then he, here's when it gets crazy. Then he, which had received the 1 talent, came and said, Lord, I knew thee, thou art a hard man, reaping where thou hast not sown, and gathering where thou hast not strawed. And I was afraid and went and hid thy talent into the earth. Lo, there thou hast, that is thine. So, and if you go to the NIV, it means he said he told him that he dug it into the earth. He got it and he brought it back to him. His Lord answered and said unto him, Thou wicked and slothful servant, thou knewest that I reap where I sowed not, and gather where I have not strawed. Thou owest therefore to have put my money into the exchangers, and then at my coming I should have received mine own with usury, so with interest. Take therefore the talent from him, and give it unto him which hath 10 talents. For unto everyone that hath shall be given, and he shall have abundance. But for him that hath not shall be taken away, even that which he has. So I say this story because I was just thinking, like, so over this past week, remember, this is a King's Journal. This is like literally a journal entry here. Over the past week, and over this past, actually, since this year started, it seems like I'm in a space where it's time to really just level up. Like it's time, like there's a lot of good stuff happening, but if I don't execute now, if I don't figure out my plan, if I don't make sure that I do everything that I need to do, then what is here, what is available, the opportunity won't be there, or I'll ruin it. And so according to the scripture, it'll be taken away. And because I'm in this space, I think it's really important to make this journal entry right now so that you can see live how this thing is playing out and what my thoughts are going into it. Because again, this is also like a time capsule type thing. I'll come back to it and see, okay, this is what happened at this point in time, back in February 5th of 2023 at age 25. This is how it played out. And so I was also like listening to so with that being said, I know that there's a lot of people listening to this. Well, I know that there are people listening to this that are in a similar situation. I know there's some people who, you know, that you've been praying and you know for a fact that God wants you to do something that you have not done before. He's calling you to be something that you feel like you haven't been before, or he's telling you that it's time for a transition. You've been doing good at this level for a good amount of time, but now you need to go to a different level because I want you to do greater things than what you've done before. So if you are one of those people in that position, this is for you. This episode right here is for you. I believe it. And if you're in this position, listen to this. Now, there's a thing called, like, I don't know if anybody, has ever ran track or done any sort of public speaking or whatever. But when you're getting up to do something that you're kind of that's unfamiliar, that's something that you don't typically do, usually there's a bit of nervousness that comes with it. And that nervousness, they call it anxiety. And so it's a response. We call it the flight or fight or flight response to a situation like that when you get that kind of anxiety. And what that means, for those that don't know, is pretty much when you're in that situation, your body tenses up. And so in that moment, you can either fight, it makes your muscles strong so that you can fight or run away. But there's a third way that you can handle it, and that's freezing. Because some people you forget everything, you don't even know your name, and then you just don't do anything in that moment in time. And you just continue on with whatever you've been doing, and just completely ignoring the moment, the opportunity that's in that moment. Now, the closest thing that I know for a fact that when I was in track, I remember there was I remember this like it was yesterday. When I was in track, in high school, my senior year, we had during the postseason races. So it's like the tournament all the way that leads up to state. There's the preseason, which is like indoor, regular season, which is outdoor, but you're not really, you're just kind of improving your time. And then there's the postseason when you're getting kicked out if you don't win the next race, or if you don't get top 3 or one of the best times in your area. And so I was at sectional, so we had already done like county. My school, Westfield High School, we have the most competitive sectional in the state of Indiana. And if you make it through this sectional, you pretty much will, it's almost set that you're going to go to state. That's just how competitive our sectional is. And that's in almost every race or competition in track and field in Indiana. If you're in this sectional, you're going to make it if you make it past here. And so I'm dealing with the fastest of the fast. Like I'm dealing with the people that you go and see in the final at state. Like if these are the dudes that I'm racing against. And this ain't even the last round. There's the sectional, then there's the regional, then there's state. If you make it past here, then you'll get to the regional. And so I do the 110 meter hurdles. And so this particular season during my senior year, I ended up tearing my hamstring. And so during the regular season, I pretty much didn't even race. Like for most of the regular season, I did not race. And so the first meet of the postseason, I did maybe like 1 or 2 races during the regular season. And then the first race during the postseason, I was back healthy enough to actually run. And so it went well, but it was shaky because obviously I hadn't been going through getting the reps in throughout the season. And so I'm a little bit, I don't have my step just yet, but somehow I made it through county. I don't know how that happened, but somehow I made it through county. And then I make it to the regional meet, and then I get to meet the guy who had just like crushed my time from last year. He went to, I'm not sure what school. I don't remember what school he went to. I think it was HSE or something like that. I think it was HSE. I know his uniform was blue. That's what I remember. And this dude was at the meet. I was talking to him before the race. Everybody kind of just, it hangs out in similar areas. Like if you run the hurdles, you hang out in this area before your race starts. And everybody's just talking, and then the guy next to him, he just got this crazy time 2 weeks ago, because I'm keeping track of everybody. Like I know your name before we meet because I've seen your race online and I've already documented your times for this season and the last season. And so I know who I'm dealing with at this race. And I know it's about to be crazy. And so I'm talking to the guys, everybody's just kind of chilling, hanging out, having a good time, talking, cracking jokes and things. But we all in the back of our minds know that this race that that's about to happen is about to determine who's going to make it. We all also know that I haven't been running. So another thing about this community is we kind of, when you make it to these different races that are like in the tournament, you see just familiar faces because the same people qualify pretty much every year. And so they know that they have not seen me run. They don't know why. They don't know that I've been injured. They can assume that, but they don't know why exactly they have not been seeing me. And so when they did see me at the meet and we were talking and everything was cool. But I know that they know in their head, they was like, he wasn't at the meet when we had a dual meet during the regular season. what's he been up to? And I also, his times have not been documented online. So he must have been out. He could not have been competing. And what I know is that I have not been competing. So we all just here. We got the top three with their times at the with times to for that race. They were in my race. And then they know that I would qualify with how I competed the previous year. So we got a very, very stacked final. And when we got there, okay, I shocked them a little bit because there's the prelims before it's the final. I shocked them a little bit with the prelim because I actually made it to the final. And so they know that I had something in the tank, but they didn't know that I had enough to actually compete with them. Now, when you get to the line of these races, and I'm sure whatever thing you do that is public or in front of an audience or whatever, there's some nerves that come with it. As I approach the line, like I've set up my blocks and everything. My guy, I think it was my friend Noah, possibly, who was going to hold my blocks. And when you get up to the line, and you've been practicing for months. And for those of us who've been doing this for years and years and years, you've been practicing for years. And you know exactly what to do. And at this point, you're not thinking of anything new in the moment because the race is 110 meters. You don't got time to really build a new game plan. You kind of got to work with what you've already got. That's it. You've already been working on the skill. It's muscle memory at this point. And if it ain't muscle memory, then you ain't got it. That's just how it is. So you get up to this line knowing that you've been practicing for months or years, but there's still that nervousness. It's like your palms start to get sweaty. You start to do some weird stuff. Like I see people at the starting line and they shake out or whatever. And some of them do it just to get loose, but I think most of them are doing it because we're just nervous. Like we're just trying to distract ourselves from how nervous we are for this race. But everybody's looking serious, of course. Everybody's got to be real serious. You patting your muscles, you ready to go. Everybody, jumps in the air, does a couple of those, kicks out or whatever. And then the starter says, runners, take your mark. Okay, all right. We get blocks are set. Now we start to shake out for the last few times. And then everybody gets down. It gets super quiet. And I'm at Carmel High School, which is one of the biggest high schools in the state of Indiana. Okay. And so they've got bleachers and it filled up because again, this is like the fastest sectional in the state. This is the fastest one. And so if these people make it, we know who's going to make it to state. So we got this stadium packed full of people. Everybody's in the stands. Everybody in the stands, if they're a recruiter, a coach, if they're even on an opposing team, or even if they're they're going to be competing in a sectional that's somewhere else in the state. They're here just to watch. Everybody's there. Stadium's quiet. They're not doing any other competition. Nobody's throwing anything. Everybody in the place is quiet. They got everybody behind you completely, sitting down, not moving at all. No one's walking, no one's talking. Everybody, all eyes are right here on the starting line because it is the final of the 110-meter hurdles. And so I'm at the line. I'm in my stance, right? Just behind the white line. I'm on the edge too. I'm in the farthest lane. I'm in lane 8. So I'm literally like, there's a fence, a little walkway, and there's me in lane 8 because I'm not even supposed to be here. Like literally, I've been injured the whole season. I haven't been competing, and I just barely made it through county. I'm not even supposed to be here in this race, but I'm here. And because I'm here with this raggedy time, I'll call it, they throw me all the way in lane 8. If you in lane 8, for those who don't know, in track and field, if you're in lane 8, whoever's in lane 8, you're not expected to do anything but just fill the lane. That is your job. Like as if you are put in lane 8 or the people that you see in lane 8, they're not supposed to win anything. They're not even supposed to get close. This person in lane 8 is supposed to lose. They're really their job is to just look like they lost for the highlight reel for the person who is going to win it. Okay. I'm all the way in lane 8. I am the closest person to the stands. I'm set. Stadium is silent. Set. He holds up the gun. That's when everybody rises up. Boom. And then you take off. And I mean, I took off like, like nobody's business, man. I literally, I ran, and you don't really remember everything while you're running. Like you really don't. But for some reason in this one, I was in the zone. I remember taking my steps, and then when I got to the first hurdle, I was pretty much in line with everybody. Okay, there was nobody who had taken off just yet. By the third hurdle, you start to see some variation. Okay, so I get over one, I get over two, and then on the third hurdle, I hit it. Now I'm not. Nobody has taken off just yet. I'm still pretty much within a few steps of everyone else in this race, and so I hit the third hurdle. I'm still going. I hit the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, the seventh, the eighth, the ninth. I hit the 10th hurdle, and then I yell, giving it everything across the line. Like I'm talking lean, head forward, arms back, and I scream across the finish line because I know by this point in time at the 10th hurdle, I'm in a good position. I don't know because I'm all the way in lane 8. I'm over here. I've got a distance. I can't even see nobody. So I can see that, okay, one dude already passed. He got it. It's his race. But there's another dude, there's two other dudes that are in the lanes next to me. We've already separated ourselves from the pack. But there's two other dudes, and the top 3 will make it to the next round. 2 other dudes are kind of beside me, but after I yell and jump across, pretty much lunge across this line, I look and I'm like, oh man, I don't know, because it's so close. I lunge across the line. Everybody, dials it down after they cross the finish line. The other 2 dudes are looking pretty confident for some reason. They look mighty confident, more confident than they should be, because they don't know either. But we cross the line. I see them. The guy who won, he's already, he's getting a water break. He won. He beat us by a bit, like a step or 2. And so now we have to wait because we don't get the results immediately. It's not like the Olympics where, it's up on the board and, everybody gets to cheer and everything right there. So we have to actually wait until they call the results of that race. So again, there's that nervousness. It's like, man, this could be my last race of my high school career, or I'll make it to the next round. And so some time passes, they go through a few more races, then the announcer says, and here are the results of the 110-meter hurdles. In position number 1, first place, so-and-so, dude. And second place, the guy in the blue, who I was telling you about. He was killing it. He was good. In third place. Now I'm like, well, I ain't got the first 2. I might be out. And so in third place, Martell Fletcher from Westfield High School. I say, what? That's crazy. And I made it to the next round. And I was so happy and I was so relieved because I'm like, this is one, like I said, I was in lane 8. And 2, I didn't even do the regular season. Like I was injured. I could not do it. Physically, I would have been more hurt if I did it. But I somehow got across that line before homie over in the other lane. And he was in the middle-ish lanes. So he was supposed to be super fast. But I got him. And I say this to say, it was that point in time at the starting line when everything was quiet and we were getting to the line and the nerves were at their absolute highest point, where you don't typically see any alternative here, but it's similar to the situation that you'd be in if you were called to do something at a higher level. Someone's giving you a job opportunity, someone's giving you a promotion, or someone put something on your desk that is going to take everything up that you've been doing, take it to another level. At that line, when I'm sitting there and it's completely quiet, you're just thinking like, oh man, have I prepared enough? Am I fast enough? Let me make sure, are my blocks set enough? Do I really know how to hurdle? Like all these random silly questions come up, and that anxiety, it's like, it's just so much pressure on you right then in that moment. But when that gun goes off, for me, it's all gone. It's only time to execute. So now, take that situation, take that story, and now relate it to the situation that you're in, that you might be in. You don't know if this thing that you've been called to do, or you don't know if this new opportunity, you don't know exactly how you're going to achieve it because you've never done it before. They want you to go to this place that is unfamiliar to you because you've never been there. You're going to have to do certain things that you might have dabbled in before, but now you're going to have to truly execute on it and on a high level. So there might be that nervousness about it. There might be this nervousness as you approach the situation. But the alternative to execution is failure. As a believer, you are either going to step up or you're going to get passed up. Because the truth is, God has plenty of plans. God has plans, and it's just for you. And the thing is, though, there's a time and there's a season for things. If you have an opportunity right now, God has put this on your plate for you to do. If you do not do it, he's going to make sure that his plans still prevail. Because God's not going to fail. But you will still be left behind doing the things, if you're lucky, you'll be doing the things that you were doing in the past, or things will get much, much worse. That's just the reality. Sorry to tell you if that's news to you. But what do you do when it's time to level up? That's where I want to stay here today. Because for me, since I'm in this, because we're in the same position, me and you, we in the same position right now. But I'm thinking about doing three things. One, taking an inventory. Two, making a plan. And then three, execution. So the first step, when I'm thinking about the things that are on my plate and what I need to do, I have to first take inventory of what abilities that I have, what skills I have, and what resources are available to me. Go back to the story in Matthew 25 about the servants with the talents. If I'm the servant who has 5 talents, this is my inventory. This is what I have. And then I also know that I can put this on the exchange. I know that I can trade it. That's my skill. And if I needed to, I know that I can talk to the guy who has 2 talents or the guy who has 1 talent and see what they're doing and figure out if they might have a strategy that could work for me. That's what I have. I've got my 5 talents, I've got my skills, and I've got my resources. The one who has 5 bags of gold, to another 2 bags, and to another 1 bag, each according to his ability. Then he went on his journey. That's Matthew 25:15. If I'm the one with 5 bags and the master, the Lord, gave me those 5 bags, he did it knowing, according to my ability, he did it knowing that I'd be capable of multiplying this thing that he's given me. I'm able to increase with it. He's not going to give. He didn't give me 25, knowing that I'll only be able to manage 5. And it's the same with you. If God gave you a gift, if God gave you a skill, if God gave you certain abilities to do things, and then he put in you a vision, a dream, a goal, something that is, or an opportunity that's going to take you to another level, he already made sure that all of the resources, skills, and abilities that you need to accomplish that are already in you. He's not just giving you an opportunity so that you can fail. He's setting you up for success. So with that in mind, I take inventory of what I do have, because now the idea of being afraid of the opportunity has to be gone, because I can't have doubts about whether I'm prepared for it or not, because I know that if it's here, I've got everything I need to execute. I know that I've got everything that I need to achieve the end result. And I'm gonna run with it. See, we live by faith and not by sight. And so, like, and I was just talking to somebody earlier. There's some of us who don't really understand like what our gifts are, what our talents are, what God has put inside of you. And it's interesting to me because, like, someone might say, like, okay, if you're a barber, you might think, well, God gave me the gift of being a barber. It is a gift, but being a barber is a skill. Being good at cutting hair, that's a skill. The gift from God is something that came to you at birth. It's something that you're going to be naturally good at. It's not something that comes because you worked on it super hard. It's something that naturally you woke up and you was good. Like Bolt, there's no so there's me, running track in my little high school stuff, and making it to certain competition. And there's Usain Bolt, right? So at the same time, about, I don't know, how old was I? About 17, 18, in track. By that time, Bolt was competing with the best in the world. Okay. There's no amount of work, there's no amount of sprints that I could have done to be as fast as Bolt. It just don't work like that. God gave him that thing, that ability to run that fast, the way that his body is shaped, the way that his muscles grow. He was given that is a gift from God. And it ain't one that I got. Like, I can compete at state in Indiana. I could beat the people in my school. I could win the regional so I can make it to sectional and then state. Or I can win the sectional so I can get to regional and state. But I'm not competing in the Olympics in high school. Sydney McLaughlin. It's different. So also, I'm not spending any time crying about not being Bolt, because I wasn't born to be Bolt. When I take inventory of what I have, I know that God gave me these things so that I can be successful using them. Bolt reached a crazy level of success. What did God put inside of you to reach the same level? Think about it. You might not be an Olympic champion in track and field, but you might be the best teacher in all of elementary school. What did God put into you? Okay, so take inventory. 2, make the plan. Visualize the end game. Then take your abilities, your skills, and your resources, and keep those in mind. And then make your plan by working backwards from that vision with those things in mind, so that you can decide on what you're going to do to achieve the end game. How are you going to get there? Now, I know we have that verse, many other plans in a man's heart, but it's the Lord, it's God's purpose that will prevail. Keep in mind, though, the thoughts of the diligent tend only to plenteousness, but of everyone that is hasty, only want. So it's not saying, the Bible doesn't say don't make plans. The Bible also doesn't say don't try to figure out how you're going to get to a certain place. It says being hasty, though. I'm just going to jump into this thing because I'm going to do the thing that just looks like it's going to get me to the result the fastest. That's what's going to end you up in want. What is want? Want is you ain't got it. And I'll leave it right there. So making my plan. Where am I trying to go? If I've got this opportunity right here, what is the best possible outcome of me executing on this opportunity? Okay, and so what do I need, using the things that I have, what can I do to make sure that I get there? That's making my plan. As long as your plans don't involve killing people or murder, as long as it doesn't involve, stealing things from people's wallets, as long as it doesn't involve identity theft and all the things that you should not do, that you know not to do. And as long as you've prayed and made sure that it's in alignment with God's purpose, make your plan, big dog. It will evolve. It will evolve. Don't be too strict with it, but make your plan, because you got to know where you're going and how you want to get there to actually to have full energy and moving. And that's the next step. Execution. So I've taken an inventory. I know what I have. I know what I'm working with. I made my plan. So this is, and I might not have ever been to that point before, but I've at least got my plan, which is my idea of how I'm going to get there. Now it's time to execute. Now, I've been talking about execution a lot this year. I've been talking about execution a lot last year, at the end of last year, because it is extremely important. Because last week I was talking about faith without works is dead. You can't please God without executing. You can't achieve the goal without executing. The opportunity is wasted if you don't execute. And like even if you don't make the plan, but you get moving, maybe God can help you out. Maybe he'll throw you a bone and give you a little bit of direction so that you can make it. You're gonna bump your head in that way. You're gonna bump your head. Well, you most likely gonna bump your head regardless. But it might be a little painless, a little less stressful if you get moving without the plan. But with the plan, you'll be able to do it. But execute. And I want to go to Matthew 25:21 for that. His Lord said unto him, well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord. How cool would it be if you lived to 95, 85, 100, whatever, and you died a peaceful death, flew up to heaven with your nice little wings, folded up there, got to the gate, and then God was like, you did it. Nice job. Come on in. How cool would that be? Versus, you didn't do nothing. I gave you a lot. There was a lot of potential inside you. This is what you were supposed to do. This is what you could have done. And you did this instead. You pretty much wasted everything that I gave you. So unfortunately for you, you won't be getting in here. If you just go that way down the hall, and then if you just keep walking, turn left, there's going to be this dark creature that's going to guide you to where you're going instead. All right. It was nice knowing you. Goodbye. Look, people, when the opportunity comes, when it's time for us to step up, when we know that God has given us the opportunity to step up, our only option is to do it. And our only option is to do it to the best of our ability. Because we know that when we do that, God's got us the whole way. He's not just throwing things at you just to scare you. If you get a little nervous, that's all right. That reaction that we have, that fight or flight, is actually our brain trying to help us out. It's trying to prepare us for whatever it is that's coming at us. It's not to stop you. It's not intentionally there for you to freeze up and not move and then get killed by the bear or whatever. It's there so that your muscles are ready so that you can take off running. Or stay in and make sure that you fight. So what are you going to do? As I've talked about, I know for a fact that you are a person who you have an opportunity. It's right. You're sitting on this opportunity right now. You know that in the next few months, life is going to be different for you, regardless of if you execute or if you don't. So what you gonna do? If I were you, I'd take inventory, I'd make my plan, and I'd get to work. And that is all I got to say for today's episode of the podcast. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you will join me next week. But this has been a King's Journal. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you later. Peace.